How's it going, guys, and welcome back to another episode of How To. In this episode, we are going to be building a prop airplane. Straight props. Giving the props to the props. So, we're going to start right off the bat. This is not a pre-planned idea. I have no idea how this is going to wind up or how it's going to end up. I just know we're going to end up with a prop-powered plane. I'll try and explain everything I'm doing and why I'm doing it as we go. So here, let's go. Let's start with a jet cockpit. Right off the bat, we're going to go with some wings, obviously. Now, again, with most flyers in this game, or with most builds in this game, flyers especially, or works as well with boats, is balance above our center of mass or center of gravity. We always want to keep track. We know that this seat itself weighs, I believe, about 25 kilos. So we know that's where the majority of the weight is sitting right now. So we're just going to start with, let's try something really basic here. We're just going to give this a bit of a tail. And let's throw a couple of small wings on the back. Like that. And then we can even go with a couple of small vertical stabilizers. Like that. We can put a little slope on the back here. And then go with our propulsion here, go to our propeller. Bring one of these little propellers out and set it right there. Now that is about as basic a plane as you can get. Let's see if it flies. So hit the space bar. And as we can see, our propeller wants to drag us straight down into the water because, again, our center of weight is way at the front where that cockpit seat is. So, let's see what we can do about that. So, if we got the majority of the weight up here, one thing we can do is we can add some more lift to the front to counter that extra weight in the front. We can also get rid of this little area here, this flat spot, which aerodynamics is going to show us. Oh, it's actually showing green. That's bizarre. That's because the propeller's in front of it. So, but we're going to take a little wedge piece and, oh no, we can't pop it underneath there. Anyways, ah ha ha. See the hitbox for the propeller? It covers that spot in there. We can't stick anything in there. That's why it's not showing us as red under the aerodynamics tab. All right, so we got the extra wings. We'll build this in and let's see what that does. And that just flips us over. All right. So we know we have far too much weight in the front. Let's see if we can get rid of the lift in the back. It may be too short of a frame as well. Having a body this short is not going to make for a decent flight. So now we're just using seat control. As you can see, there you go. We got a flyer. Again, not a lot of control, but that's a prop plane right there. It's doing flips. You're not going to be doing any skywriting with this at any point in time. These little propellers actually have quite a bit of torque. They got quite a bit of pull to them. So, let's go back to the spawn point here. And I'm going to show you how I would modify this simplistic plane. So I would bring this back one more in length. Copy that back. Move these to the back. And we will try adding some horizontal stabilizers. Large horizontal stabilizers to the back here. A little bit of extra weight in the back is going to be okay. And the stabilization should be alright. Now again, we've got one prop here. You could copy these props out if you wanted more than one prop. You could copy them out to the wings like this. Keep it above the wing or below the wing, whether or not you're looking for lift from the bottom or lift from the top. If you want to connect them directly in front, you have to rotate them this way. No connection points on the long sides, but there is a connection point on the short side. But then that leaves drag sticking out the bottom like that. So let's just try that. So we can go down here to our frame tab, to our cubes, come down here to our armor shield pieces, grab a 2x1. We'll just rotate that right over top like that. Copy that over. Copy this propeller over as well. Make sure we're the same distance away. And we are. And then let's try that. Let's build that in. Build it around this way. The old spacebar. We got 200 miles an hour. It wants to pull straight up because of that extra weight in the back. She sure flies level. Stable, I should say. You can see it still wants to fly upwards. Mountain crash. Alright. Meanwhile, back at the spawn point. Alright, so it wants to nose up slightly. So that's one way you can add propellers onto there. Another way I found where you can add propellers mid-wing without adding anything sticking out the front as far as weight goes is we can get rid of these on the top here, these little shield pieces. And we're going to branch these out by 2. Put a 2 gap in here. We're going to rotate these so it's 2 wide. And we're just going to pop it right in there, right in between the wings. Like that. Now we've got them built in like this. Now what that allows us to do is we also can move it back a wee bit, which helps us to distribute weight. We want to move the weight back just a little bit. All right, let's have a look at that. See how that flies. Again, lots of trial and error. You want to constantly check to see if your weight is distributed. So again, it's still pulling us upwards, which means that we need some lift in the back because we've got lots of lift in the front. So back down to the spawn point. Let's add in one set of wings to the back side. 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll copy these ones back. And we'll give us a little bit more length here. We'll bring these back one more. Select this. Copy it over towards the camera, of course. So now we have those in the back there. And let's test that. Spin us around, hit the old space bar. Okay, it wants to pull down because of that extra weight. Or the extra lift in the back is now still wants to pull upwards. We still have a bit of a weight issue in the back. But that's also why we have that 2-block play space in between the wings there. We can actually, we've only got 3 propellers on here. We're doing 230 miles an hour, or kilometers an hour, sorry. I used to always have my game in miles per hour, so let's have it. But you can see they slow down real quick as well. It wants to fall down, but again, just like helicopter blades, those propellers grab hold of the wind. Ooh, there we go. Brought that up. So it is barely flyable. But what we're going to do is we're going to move some of that weight out forward this way. So we're going to add in, let's add in a couple of deuces here. Rotate that one and this one. So bring that out. We could go with a, let's see what we got for pieces under our aerodynamic tab here. We got some round pieces with a stubby rounded nose on it like this. But we could put that one there down on the bottom. Spin that around. Copy it over here. And again, holding left Alt will spin your pieces. Left Control will allow you to select multiple pieces or deselect, holding left control down, just in case you're new to the game. Alright, so we're going to need another deuce right here, and maybe one more. Then we can bring this back like this here. Now we got a little bit more weight out the front here. Now again, if we have these connection points here at the front, if we want to add a couple of weapons on there, we could add a couple of small cannons, turn them sideways. Copy it over like that. We will set those to left shift. On toggle automatic cannons. And let's set these to 0.3. So we'll grab both, select both cannons. Select the amount of time that they stay active when receiving input is going to be 0.3. It will reset after 0.3. And one of them is going to have a 0.3 second delay. 0.3. So now it should fire 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2 every 0.3 seconds. Let's test that. We'll jump in here, left shift. Beauty. Let's face towards the edge here. See if we actually fly. We're still a little heavy on the front. That's alright, we can always add a couple of more horizontal stabilizers there on the front. That'll give us a little bit more lift as well. She's actually flying pretty level. And I'll show you another beauty way of being able to get another set of propellers in there too. So go into build mode here. So now we can select this set of propellers here, we can move them forward. So once we have those moved forward, we can copy these out. I'm going to copy one out this way, and then I'm going to, again, left Alt. I'm going to rotate that around, and I'm going to place it right in behind this one. But then I'm going to select the configure button here, and instead of green, which is going to make this propeller want to pull forward, we want to not have it there. We want to have space on red, so that this one and this one are both pulling forward. So we'll do the same thing over here. Select it, copy it forward, which is also insert on your keyboard. If you guys haven't noticed that, if you're doing multiple pieces that you need to copy, just using the insert key is a lot faster than clicking that button. So we'll move this one back as well, configure that to go red rather than green. So it's moving forward, we'll make that space. And let's try that. That should give us lots of speed now. We'll see how the weight sits. Okay, yep, lots of weight in the front. We're now going for a swim. Okay, so with that extra weight in the front, what we're going to do is add some vertical stabilizers. So we'll click on this, hit our copy key, copy this one back over to this side. Same thing here, towards, copy it across. It comes all the way back to this side. And if we want to, if we do need some more lift, we can always add. We have a whole other row down here. We can add another layer of wings. Let's try this first quick though here. Turn that around with R, and we'll see if we can take off here. Nope, still wants to pull us straight down into the drink. So again, we could get rid of lift from the back to keep the nose up, or we could add more lift to the front. I'm going to imagine it's because we added another 25 kilos of weight to the front. So we're going to need to add some more wingises. So I'm just going to select these two again, left control, click on both of those, copy downwards, and we have another set of wings copied down there. And let's see if that gives us any more lift in the front or if that just adds weight. Right, space bar, pull back on the joystick. Oh no, it's even worse, even worse. So to deal with this, we need more lift in the front. Now we could make the wings a bit wider, but then our whole plane is going to get bigger. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lengthen this out a little bit to move the lift from these wings. Again, left control while you're selecting multiple pieces, and your WASD keys will move your pieces. Again, it's all relative to your camera, remember. So we're going to move these ones back. We're going to get rid of these little ones here. We're actually going to go with some, we'll go with these ones. We'll just copy this, rotate that, bring these back here, copy a second one. That'll add a little bit more weight to the back as well. And let's see how that flies. That's a little better, but looks like we're still going to need some lift in the front. So it looks like we are going to have to, well, again, we could easily enough move these to the back, or actually move them under the belly. I prefer my guns on top, it's easier to dogfight that way. But we could put these under here, and and that'll help us move some of the weight to the back. Let's try that. And it still wants us to go into the drink. So let's try eliminating these guns altogether until we can get it flying stably. So we'll get rid of those. Let's try that. See how much of a difference that actually makes. Not much. Alright, so we have no control surfaces on here yet. So we'll simply add some, and that'll allow us to give us the lift. I do prefer to be able to fly at least level when you're taking off with just the seat steering, but that doesn't always work. So with our rear tail wings here, we're going to select both of these, move them over one. Same thing here, move those over one. We'll come down to our mechanics tab and grab a rotating servo. Pop that into place back here. Try and keep it above the body line. So we'll keep those there. So we want lift first to deal with lift. So that means this one here to make me go up is going to go green. So green is going to be S, red is going to be W. Speed is going to be 0.1. And the angle we will set at 20 because we don't need major movement back here. So here's going to be the opposite again. Red is going to make us go up. Green is down. 0.1 for speed. 20 degrees. And that should work for now. We'll build that in. Give it a quick test. Be some moving. So now we'll go this way. We'll take off. We should at least be able to keep ourselves in the air now, as we can. And again, a little bit more weight in the back there with those servos helps as well. So not too bad. We have 0 roll. We have no yaw. Lots of lift. Alright, so again, this is one of them opportunities where we can take this lift, these moving parts, the servos in the back there, and we can throw on an XOR gate for either of those down here in the logic blocks. And we'll select an XOR gate. We'll put it somewhere in the middle of the body for now. We don't want to upset the weight too much. We'll set one to either side. We will set this one to this servo. And we're going to configure this XOR gate to make this thing rotate to help us roll, give us some roll. So this one is going to go up, and that's going to lift us to the right. So this one will go up with green, so green will be to the right. Select our XOR gate here, configure. Green is to the right, which is D. And A, output will be 1, that's all fine. So we have D and A, which means this one will be A and D. And it will be selecting on this one. So we'll build that in, give that a quick test. Says something not right. Yeah, something's not right. Something don't seem right. Oh, this one here has been moved. That's why. There we go. Thought it didn't look right. So that one is DNA. This one supposed to be DNA as well. That can't be. How's that gonna work? Like that. Like that. Alright, let's test it. See if we got our roll set properly here. We got our lift. We got roll to the right. We got roll to the left. And we got our lift. And I don't use much as far as for yaw goes, because y'all could just rotate your plane around like this and then bank real steep. Whoa, we're going in the drink anyways. Alright, so once you've got a basic frame like this, and you have your weight distributed, you actually know that you can take off from the ground. It already has, I mean, that's only 5 little propellers, and you're doing 200 kilometers an hour right off the bat. So as you can see, that roll is pretty overactive as well. That's a lot of roll. So we can minimize that by setting the output on our XOR gates that are controlling it. So we can come down here, it's got output of 1, which is maximum output normal. So let's set that to 0.5. And that should only rotate these half of what they're set to rotate. So we can build that, repair this way, take off, we got our lift. And see, now our roll is much more subtle. It actually lifts quite a bit with that lift that we have on there. It flies pretty well. So you could go with wider wings if you wanted. If you're not worried about scale or trying to build a certain sized plane. You could always go with, let's go back to the spawn point here. Let's try adding another set of wings right behind this set. Right like that. Right like that. Now let's see what that does for us. See if that gives us a little more even lift in the front. I'm not touching nothing. That still wants to nose down a wee bit. That's okay. We can control that by adding a wee bit more body to it as well. So we'll go into build mode and we'll move these slopes here all the way to the back. Like that. And then we'll select one of these, copy it down, move it like this, and like that. Again, that gives us a little bit more weight in the back. We can move our XOR gates to the back. I mean, in all actuality, if you wanted to, you could bring them right up here and set them right up there on top of your rotating servos. Then you've got to deal with aerodynamics. So at least like this, we can copy, select, copy, rotate, 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 bring this one up like that. And that way, we've got a nice wedge in front to get rid of this flat spot. So we'll do that. And then we'll take a look at our aerodynamic tab and see where is it red. Oh, look at that orange. The propellers are just horrible. There's not much we can do about that unless we put them like actually in the body. So we've got a couple of red spots here where our servos are. So again, we'll come down to our aerodynamics tab and grab our 2x1 slope. Simply set that in front. Copy that over. That'll negate that. And that's about all you can do as far as getting rid of red. Everything else is green except for the orange on the propellers themselves, which I think indicates that it has a limited speed. Doesn't matter how many propellers you have on there, it'll only go so fast. So we'll take off from here. Should get at least 200 kilometers an hour. Yeah, we got 210, 215. It's flying pretty straight, all by itself. 220. So that is a simple way to build a propeller plane. It's a lot like a jet, except you're moving a lot slower. So your weight and your lift has to be monitored a little more closely, I guess, because you're moving slower. Can't use the aerodynamic pieces themselves as wings, but this is where the actual wings come in handy. Glide down nice and easy. Of course, you can always put some landing gear on there, some wheels, or even if you wanted, here's a simple way to put landing gear. Let's get rid of those aerodynamic arrows. So we can go with some simple landing gear with just a couple of pistons. Let's grab a couple of pistons, put them like, yeah, they're kind of long, Let's rotate that around so our connection points are down on the bottom. Make sure that that is actually connected to the wing. Maybe back here. Maybe we can go out to there. No, that's not going to work. It's got to be up near the front. So let's say about there, and then we're going to rotate these so that our connection points are out to the side. Like that. Connect another one like this on the other side. About there. Then we can go to our wheels. And of course, we're going to select our little go-kart wheels. They have no traction. Make sure they're spinning the right way. Once those are there, we can select our 2 pistons, configure, start position is out. They will auto reset. And we're not going to set any keys to it, we're going to remove the controls from those. And we want them to come down. Yeah, 1 should be okay as far as speed. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take a sensor under the logic tab here, a distance sensor. And we're going to tuck one up underneath each side of the wing, facing down, like that. Copy it over to this side. Now, under here, now we know that 3 blocks equals 1 meter. So if that's 3, then we're going to say 4, say 5, 6, 7, 8. We'll say about 10. So we're going to configure those 2. We're going to say the distance is going to be, let's go, yeah, we'll go 10. So 10 meters away. Again, you can only connect sensors or anything like that one at a time. Can't do multiples. So we'll select this one, configure, connect it to this piston and to this piston. Same thing with this one. Come on, get back in place. Control Z is also your undo. So if you do move something and you're not sure where it came from, just hit Control Z and it'll move it back to wherever it came from, which is handy. So we want to configure that one to connect to these 2 pistons here as well, so that when we are near the ground and those are out, our gear will stay out, but as soon as we take off and get above 10 feet, they should retract. Oh, no, because I did that wrong. I should have had them starting in. That way, the sensor is what keeps them out. So we're going to start in. Sorry, my bad. They can still go to auto resets. Now, when I spawn it in, they're just going to automatically pop out. Like that. Now we can get in. We can take off. And they should fold back up on their own. Just like that. Out of the way. It still flies. There's a little bit more weight in the front. You can see it is still a little wobbly left to right. So you could always add another couple of small vertical stabilizers. I would probably add them either in the body here or on the back wings. I tend to put my stabilization components on the back, so it can fly like an arrow, just like an arrow. So I'll put it like that. Spawn that in. Take off. Landing gear folds up. Swing it back around. And see if we can land it. Might help if we started where we still had runway. See, those wheels do come out. The landing gear does come out a little slow, so you might want to increase that speed of those pistons. So we'll come in for a nice landing like this. Gear should come down. Whoa! Backwards. Don't have backwards. Into the drink. So you can land it. Again, it just takes a bit of piloting skill, eh? You probably want to add a wee bit more, a couple of more aerodynamic pieces in here. Get rid of this in the front there. I would add these like that. And then this one like that. To cover up the front of those sensors there. And other than that, I think that's about all you can do aerodynamic wise. Again, the front of those pistons is going to be not aerodynamic, but they'll be folded up and it's only one block. And we have no control points or connection points to stick on the front of there, so we can't put any of the aerodynamic pieces on there. That's about the best you can do with that. So I hope that helps, guys. That's basically how I build my prop planes. Having the propellers in between the wings like this allows for less pieces, more aerodynamics. But again, you could try building your props in the body to get rid of these orange drag lines and see if you can get more speed that way. But yeah, the majority of it is about balance, centering your weight, and your control surfaces. Making sure that you've got minimal control surfaces so that you've got easier control, more control when you're flying at lower speeds. So yeah, that is the prop plane. Hope that helped, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Leave a comment if you got any other ideas. This is a viewer suggested idea, which I always enjoy. Always like thinking outside the box. Somebody else giving me cool ideas. Alright guys, we will see you in the next one. Ciao.